To be able to get out of that zone and realise that I, like everyone else, is put on earth for a reason, and really fight for my future and realise that what I went through wasn't my fault, no matter what society and the system makes us believe in ourselves.
We would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Voices in Action podcast with Create Foundation SA team. This podcast is called Voices in Action, Journey in Care.
We are excited to be releasing our first podcast series. We have episodes lined up to appeal to the out-of-home care sector, fostering change and advocating for a better future for young people in care. We hope this podcast is helpful for children and young people in the care system and inspires you that you are a valuable human being.
We acknowledge that the topics discussed can be potentially triggering, so we encourage you to take care of yourself. Check in with yourself at the end of each episode and seek support if needed. We've listed some support services in the show notes. Hi everyone, welcome to the Voices in Action podcast, Journey in Care. Today's topic is mental health. We have myself, Angela, in the room. We've got Jessie. Hi Jessie.
Hi everyone.
And we've got a very special guest, Felicity. Hi Felicity.
Hi.
Felicity is one of our young consultants. So before we get started with the questions around mental health, Felicity, do you want to introduce yourself?
So I am 21. I was in care since 7 years old and lived between different placements, some short-term, some long-term, foster homes as well as homeless shelters and group homes. I currently am an author and a CEO and advocate for the child protection system and young people in care. Create has been very supportive in my mental health, always there when I need someone to chat to, always helping me and supporting me through all my career options and choices and everything I do.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for taking the time to discuss such a huge topic, and it's Mental Health Month in October. So we really wanted to highlight some really tough conversations. So take care of yourselves when you're listening to this podcast because it is a really sensitive topic. Why do you think is important for young people to look after their mental health?
I think our experiences are all very tough. They're uniquely ours, but we all have the same experience of moving around, having that instability, and it can definitely play a negative part in our mental health and really drag us down. And I think, especially young people in care, I think it's really important that we do look after our mental health more so than anyone else because we do experience a lot more trauma than an everyday teenager or everyday young person.
Yeah, and that should be really, really thought about when we are thinking of kids in care from the earliest ages when they grow up till teenage years, and because your brain's not fully developed, it takes so long to fully develop. And
So how has your experiences negatively or positively impacted your mental health?
I think to start, I'll probably talk about the positives. We like to start off with the positives. I think my experiences have helped me become the advocate I am. Yeah. It has helped me be able to make a difference in such a broken system and help influence young people to be able to share their story for the greater good and to be able to know that their story is their superpower. They are superheroes in their story and they can use that to shape their future and use that to make a massive difference. Yeah, it's really helped me be able to, I guess, heal myself. It was very therapeutic myself to be able to use my story to make a difference and advocate it because my story wasn't the best. My life experiences weren't the best, but it's helped me to be who I am today. Obviously, there is those negatives of intense, suicidal ideation and not thinking I was good enough for the world and not thinking I should be here and was never meant to be here. And that was really hard to be able to get out of that zone and realise that I, like everyone else, is put on earth for a reason and really fight for my future and realise that what I went through wasn't my fault, no matter what society and the system makes us believe in ourselves. I know that I blamed myself for a lot of my placement breakdowns, but I am stronger because of that.
Yeah. Wow, you've just highlighted so much.
All part of your story and obviously not great or fun experiences for you, but has led to
Yeah, and there's a lot of healing that I'll probably always have to go through. I don't think you turn 18 and age out of the system and you're healed. Yeah. You don't just, like me, run a company and be an author and you're healed. A lot of people would always be like, why are you still mentally unwell? Why are you still struggling with depression? You're a CEO now, you're an author. And it was hard to explain to them that doesn't mean that my mental health stops. That doesn't mean that my whole childhood is over and I don't have those traumatic experiences. You don't just get over that.
Yeah. It's a lifelong thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's easier to, like, you learn to cope with it. You learn the strategies to, you know, get through every day. And I am better today than I was a year ago, 2 years ago. But there will always be those down days. There will always be those moments where I'm upset and I think about my past and I'm triggered. But it's about, like, growing and learning those mechanisms, I think.
And that's great that you can be that encourage for other people as well, to be like I'm really doing successful things, but I still struggle. Like, you know, it's okay to struggle with those things, and it's very normal.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of young people will probably be listening to this and thinking, oh yeah, I hear all that all the time, but it's not going to happen for me, because I remember being that young person listening to people being like, it will get better, and thinking, no, it won't. Because why am I still like this? Why haven't I gotten better? It's not going to get better. But I think once you find your purpose in life and you push for that, it does feel a little bit better. It's about taking that day at a time, finding your support people, advocating for yourself as well. Yeah. I had to really advocate for a therapy that worked for me. If a therapy didn't feel like it was working, I advocated for another one. And I kept trying to find what worked.
I'm a big advocate for that, to find different ways to help you heal. And we all heal in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really hard because I didn't know what worked for me. I just knew what didn't work. So it's hard to find that thing that worked, or
figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, because like I'm diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, but I find that DBT doesn't help me. Yeah. I can't handle group therapy. Yeah. So I was able to find something like narrative therapy, where I'm able to walk through my life and be able to change that narrative. Yeah. And something that helps everyone, or a massive group of people, doesn't mean it's going to help every single person in the world. So it's about advocating for that, I think.
Yeah. Powerful. The next question we have is, what does it look like for you when you don't look after your mental health? Like, are there some signs, or what do you notice within yourself?
I think a massive one is pushing people away. I tend to push people away because I have this negative self-talk, I guess, of if I let people in, they're going to leave, because a lot of my placements ended when my mental health got bad. So my biggest fear is that if I let these people in, they're going to leave like everyone else, and I don't want them to leave. I don't want to be alone again. So I push them away. I avoid everyone. I tend to not get hungry. I just want to lay in bed. So I think like a lot of self-care is a lot harder as well. Yeah.
It's good that you've become with those signs. Like you can notice those signs. You can even tell a friend or a partner or a family member, someone. If you see those signs, let me know, because that's when I might need someone to like check in with me and look after my mental health a little bit more.
I hated safety plans. Every time mental health professionals would always be like, here's a safety plan, write a safety plan. I never looked at it. When you're in that distress moment where you just want to cry, scream, you're not going to friggin' get your safety plan and look at it and be like, okay, what am I going to do? Because you're in a distress heightened mood. And I know that it's like something for them to check off, so then they know you're safe. But most young people don't look at it because you don't have that mindset. So it is important to be able to find your support people and be like, these are my triggers. This is what helps. Yeah. And then they can help you in those moments instead of having to read something that you won't read or you won't even think about doing.
Yeah. Anything that's helped you with your mental health, and like obviously you mentioned other people supporting you, but is there any like services or personal strategies that you have?
I think therapy has been a massive one, as well as finding the right medication. I had so many different medications throughout the years, and finally found the medication that really helps my serotonin levels and my boost. And it was really hard to find that medication, because I always thought, like even medication doesn't help me. Like, why am I here? Like nothing's helping me. And to be able to like trial and error and just push through really helped. Definitely support people. Like my partner, she's amazing. She's really helpful. My friends, they're really good. Animals are really important for mental health. I mean, sometimes my cats and dog really make me worse because they're a pain and they destroy things, but most of the time they're pretty good. I have a cat who I've had since a kitten, and when I first got her, I was probably at my lowest. So every time, even to this day, every time she hears me playing sad music, it's straight headbutts. she will not leave me alone. She's not a cuddly cat unless she hears the sad music or me crying. She just runs straight up to me.
So in tune to you.
She is, and she'll just all the headbutts, all the like cuddles. So I think animals are definitely so important.
I wanted to delve in a little bit before you were in care and your mental health growing up or your well-being. Did you, like, at any age, do you remember them helping you, or did you find that something didn't work or did work?
When my mental health started getting bad around 12, I ended up actually being the one that said, I need a counsellor, get me a counsellor because I'm not coping. And I had to advocate for myself, because I find that when a child goes into care, they're not offered therapy, and it's kind of weird to think that you would get this traumatic child, put him in a new environment and not think therapy is important for when they first come into care. And I never had that option. So once I hit 12 and it was getting really bad, I was like, I need a counsellor right now. Thankfully, my foster carers did listen, and they got me a counsellor, and I built a very good relationship with her. I had her for many years throughout different placement moves and stuff.
Oh, that's helpful.
Another thing that comes to mind is one of my carers, because I have a hard time opening up when I'm really struggling. Like I was saying, I push people away. And these carers got me a notebook, and when I went non-verbal, basically, they would be like, write in the notebook to us, and then I'd leave it in a public place. They would take the notebook, read it, and write back, and that was their form of communication. So nice. And that really helped. And then after a while, I was able to open up to them more. And I do that with my partner, but over text message now, and it does help a lot when you feel like you can't say the words, or like going for drives, so I'm not looking at someone's face. I need to be I need to be moving, going for a walk, going for a drive where I don't have to look at them. Just look away.
These are such great helpful tips to share with people, to take on or to do with someone else, because navigating and dealing with mental health, it's not one side fit all. Like you have to adapt and to each individual, each human being, because
everyone's different. Everyone's experiences are different, and people experience trauma in different ways. Like someone's traumatic experience might be, I don't know, tripping and falling or something. It's every experience is different, and no one's it doesn't invalidate anyone's. A lot of people come up to me and they're always like, oh, my experience wasn't as bad as yours, but ... And I always constantly tell them, I don't care if your experience wasn't as bad. Your experience is still your experience. It's still traumatic, and I'm not going to compare myself to you. And I don't want anyone to ever compare their experience with me. My experience wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst out there. Just like someone's experience might not be the best out there, but it might be better than someone else's. Everyone's different.
That's such a good point, because I know for a lot of people, a barrier to getting support is they're like, oh, I feel like I'm not quite bad enough yet, or I feel like my experience isn't as bad as someone else's. Do I really need therapy?
I mean, I still have those thoughts. I still have thoughts of oh, someone else deserves this more. I used to always say to paramedics whenever I had welfare checks, no, there's someone who needs you more than me. I'm fine. They're like, no, you're getting help, so come and get help.
Mental health is so important for each person. No matter
but I do get it, because I'm such an empathetic person. I'm like, no, you need to help someone else more.
It's good that you have people looking out for you too then, so you're not just telling them to look up.
They definitely put me in my place and tell me to actually take my own advice a lot. I get that a lot by my loved ones.
What support do you or other young people in care need that they currently don't have, or it's difficult to access?
I think for young people in care is what I talked about earlier. Having that friggin' therapy when you first come into care, having that access, whether they engage or not, at least they have that there. And if they don't want to engage, if they're not ready, that's not because they're attention seeking. They're just not ready yet, and they will be ready when they're ready.
Keep offering it.
Keep offering it. Keep putting it in place. And if they go, they go. If they don't, they don't. And just because they don't go doesn't mean that they don't want to get better. It just means that they're not ready, and that they just need a little bit more time, a little bit more encouragement. I think for exiting care, it's so hard to get into mental health services. I'm utilising a free service at the moment, but it's only for a year, so I end in November, and there's not many free services out there. So it's really hard and gap fees are expensive. Even gap fee on Centrelink, it's not easy to get into. So I think there needs to be more cheap or free services for especially for kids in care and exiting out of care, because like I said, we don't stop having trauma when we turn 18, when we age out. That trauma's with us.
Yeah. When you left care, did your caseworkers or anyone, is that like a topic that they talk about, like mental health supports or anything?
No, not at all.
It's just all the practical stuff, but not.
Very practical. Yeah, barely
so
any.
Sent out on your own in that regard. Yeah, that's full on.
Yeah, it's not fun.
That definitely needs to be more focused on because it's such a huge thing. That you always have to always deal with your mental health. Everyone does.
Yeah.
So it should be something that we should be linking young people to, that they can continually access that at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
Have you seen a link at all in your life with times maybe where your mental health has been better? Has that then impacted the other areas of your life with your business even? Do you find it's more difficult in those times where you're struggling with your mental health? Or
I find my mental health better when I'm doing my advocacy.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's my passion. That's the thing that keeps me going. So the joy I feel when I get to speak about my story and speak for young people and help advocate for young people brings me incredible joy. And that's the moments that I realize I have a purpose. It's when I'm not advocating and I don't have meetings or conferences to go to that I start having imposter syndrome. I start feeling like I'm not worth it, and all those negative thoughts come. So the more I advocate, the better.
I guess that's another really good tip then, is like doing things that you're passionate about, doing things that you love. Obviously gives you a lot of drive and passion to do your work.
And like, you know, obviously a massive like symptom of having bad mental health is not feeling motivated. And even if I don't feel motivated doing everything else, I'm always find that motivation for the public speaking. I'll be so unmotivated for everything in my life unless it's that. Like that is one thing that I've never lost motivation for, no matter how bad I've gotten and how much I've lost motivation for other stuff.
Yeah, wow.
Such a great link between your passion and your mental health, because it just really works well together when you have that passion, and it's just really helping young people find out what their passion is and helping them drive that passion to then links in with their mental health. Is there anything else you want to share about kids in care around mental health, or any messages that you want to share before we wrap up?
Asking for help is brave.
It is. It really is.
And it can be hard.
Yeah,
so
hard.
Especially like you said, when you are down in that pit and things are really hard, like it is so much effort to even just ask someone for help.
But being brave is hard.
Stepping
out of that comfort zone is hard. And that's why it's important that you find those support people that will hold your hand and walk beside you, with you, no matter what. They're not going to force you to do something that you're not ready for, but they will just stand there beside you and just comfort you and cheer you on and love you. I think that's important.
And I think I always say to every person I interact with work and outside, give things a go. If you don't find that counsellor connects with you, find another counsellor. Find someone else that does listen, or is that you connect with and you vibe with, or don't just try not to give up from that one person if they judged you or something like that. Like, just keep trying different avenues, as you said, of different ways of dealing with your mental health or just your own well-being. Try different avenues, because there's not one thing is always going to fit the season of your life and the age you are as a person. So it's like, where are you at in your life? Find that type of therapy or that kind of healing in different 100%. Avenues. Don't give up.
And I think like that comes from, you know, conversations like this, like talking with the people around you about what helps your mental health, like how you're going. Like the more you talk about it, the more
those discussions.
And then you can hear like, like different strategies that might have worked for someone else. You'd be like, I might try that for myself. The more you talk about it, it's just like reducing that stigma and everything. And like you said, like it's a brave thing to ask for help. Like a lot of people sometimes might look at it like, feel like I'm weak because I need help.
Especially men. But men especially, they think it's not manly when it is. Like,
it's courageous.
There is nothing more courageous and brave than asking for help, no matter what your gender or sexuality or anything is. You are brave for asking for help, and you deserve help no matter what. Because, like, I got told constantly, why am I still mentally ill if I'm a CEO? And it's like, just no matter what my title is, I'm still allowed to struggle. I could be a billionaire and I would still be allowed to struggle because we are human. We all experience different things, and we all have some sort of traumatic experience in our life I would love to meet someone who's never experienced trauma, never experienced grief or loss or heartbreak.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the first person I'll ever meet that's perfect.
Yeah. I want to get your just last view about connection to community and culture and connection to another purpose and connecting with people. Have you got an experience about that or any tips to share with other young people around connecting with others to have that sense of community?
Find the community that accepts you for who you are.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone judge you for who you are or who you identify with.
Yeah.
Your community is those who are supportive, those who accept you for you and love you for you.
Yeah.
And don't let anyone ever treat you differently or judge you for who you are.
Yeah. I think there's so much power in community and mental health and your well-being because it's just all intertwines.
It's awesome.
Thanks, guys. It was a really special episode and a hard topic to talk about, but we appreciate everyone's wisdom and thanks for Felicity.
Sharing. Of course.
Thank you. And take care of yourself, everyone. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the episode of the Voices in Action Journey in Care podcast. Remember, we have support services listed in the show notes. If you liked this episode, spread the word and leave us a review. Thank you.